I so I think like almost like 15 people, 16 people joined. So we can start our thing. So this session is typically here. We'll try to understand, right? How to we can crack a Python interview. So crack a Python interview means like how how you can understand like what is the process, how to getting into the job, and actually decode the interview. So this process we will go through in this. So let's so can you just write down your like what is the expectation like you are wanted to get from this session in the chat so I can understand like what you are looking for in this session. Learn about the okay. Learn more about the how to prepare for Python interview. Okay. So like we are going through like these points or topics. So what we'll cover in this session, resume preparation. Uh, yeah, most important question is like I got some more question asked in interview. How to brush up fundamentals before interview. Okay. So Avinash said like get a job in Python developer. Lakshmi saying how to brush up fundamentals in short times. Okay. Learn to crack a Python interviews, learn more about prepare for Python interviews. Okay, so we'll cover all those things, and this session will mainly go into these topics like resume preparation, and like basic concepts, OOPS, data structure, Python libraries, what is actually mostly used, database like when you are using SQL Alchemy or like for the PostgreSQL, PySCF2, like how we connect all those things, and web development like Django, Flask, if you're using like maybe Dash, Plotly, those things like embedded structure, how we're going, and testing like unit testing, which are the framework we have like in Python we have PyTest, how to use those things, and like debugging and troubleshooting, and most important is the soft skill. So this will be the mainly thing into like how to crack a Python interview. Okay, so I think most of you don't know me, so let me introduce myself first. Like my name is Shoren, and I have completed my BCA from Bardhaman University, which on West Bengal, and 2013. After that, I have joined TCS in 2013 only. So from after joining the TCS, I have worked on multiple roles and in multiple projects. So roles mean from the trainee to software engineer, senior software engineer, and also worked as a tech lead, and also worked in multiple like domain like TCS Ion. One is the education domain where all the exams takes care, and also like BFS. Banking and financial domain I have worked on. Those are the things worked on TCS. Then in 2021, I have joined Toyota Connected India. So it is part of the Toyota things like in the infotainment they have like voice assistant and all those things. I mainly worked on the voice assistant part where like the infotainment system will help on that thing. Like and from 2022, I am working with Applied Material India. So it's a semiconductor based domain. And in this, I am mainly working with like web development, working on some like mainly with the image processing. I am working. Right. So we have some images. We worked on the image processing, like mainly most on the GAN thing I am working. And like pretty much on that I am working. Yeah. So this is my introduction. So let's uh, know the audience. Like, can you tell me like about yourself, like from where you, which is your location, and also like your fresher experienced, and also like how you are looking like you have already graduated, you're working, and what is the thing kindly you are doing. So let's check. Yeah, yes, okay. Fresher, Ajitesh Chandra says fresher. Okay. And Ajit, from where you are, like in which part of India? Nasik, graduate joined in civil engineering, but diverted toward data science. Very good. So actually, all the industry are looking for now data science only. So Rohit, you are in a good like okay. Arijit Mukherjee experienced in Kolkata. So in which domain you have experience and like how you are doing? Lakshmi, I'm working as a process engineer, data analyst in Vestas. I have experience on 2.5 years. Okay, very good, Lakshmi. Anushka, I'm a fresher from Mumbai. Want to prepare for the tech interview. Okay, okay. Kanpur, Uttar Pradesh. Okay, yeah, Rohit, I will tell you how to focus on DS. Fresher from Kolkata Thomas College. Okay, okay. Vansika Singhal. I'm graduation last year, looking for job as a Python developer, currently residing. Okay, okay. So mostly, you are freshers and like graduate and also working professional. Okay. So mixed up thing. Okay, okay, got it, understood. Okay, so let's deep dive into this. Okay, so what do you think? Like, what will be the first step for an interview? Like, interview means if you job. Let's think about as a job. So, what will be your very first step for a job? Go through the JD. Actually, yes. Anyone else? Apply for suitable position. Resume. Yeah, all are like all you are giving the correct answer only. JD, resume, understanding the JD has experience for 2 3 years to have the skill which are required for that job. Yeah, all you are giving the correct answer only. So let's go into that. So first thing is the job description. So you have to understand the job description, right? You have to read the job description carefully, identify the keywords and like phrases. What actually, sorry, what are the keywords looking for and the phrases. Then align with the skills and qualification. What is actually looking into the job description that you have or not, right? Then when you have aligned with this, okay. So there is another thing, like do you know what is ATS and what is important for you? Do anybody know what is ATS and how why it's important for you? Yeah, exactly, Avinash. Tracking system, application tracking system. Yeah, application tracking system or automated resume tracking system. You can, yes. And why it's important? Exactly, to filter the, but so filter the resume, it will be applicable for the who is the employer, but for you, why it's important? Yes, exactly, Avinash said. Is look for the keywords into the resume with respect to the JD. Yes, exactly. So the most part is a like innovative and most tricky part is the resume building. So in my opinion, it's my personal opinion. In my opinion, if you have that correct resume and your resume selection, you'll be like getting the like 50 to 75% of chances. Like most of the thing what happens, right? We just fill up our resume because we don't have some kind of a work experience or any project or internship, some kind of thing. We just put some jargon and fill up our resume. But exactly the keywords, paraphrases, we don't actually put into that. So resume, what is a resume? Resume actually sells you. Like the company wanted to hire you, so they will understand you from your resume only. This is the first glance, a first impression. So resume has to be like your proper mirror, like what you wanted to sell, what you wanted to tell the employer, and also Like when you are making the resume, right? So let's suppose if you're working for like looking for a Python job and in a Python developer, right? So in Python there are multiple things. They have script building, they have automation, they have like web development, and also they have like data analytics or data analyst area. So they have multiple field on that. So let's suppose if you're going for the data analyst, so then your resume has to be based on the data analyst, right? So you maybe fill up with pandas, data frame, or maybe if you're working the PySpark, you put those things like what is like expected into the job description. Yeah, and also we so maybe we heard of the ACO, right? Search engine optimization. So the same thing kind of same concept use also into the ATS. So you have to go through this. You have to put your resume those keywords which can be found through this ATS system. Yeah. So main thing on the resume, this should be taken care. Otherwise, your resume. So let's go for how to create a good resume, right? The best practice will be like create a master resume, like where you have all the details, like maybe what are the tasks you have done, like what are the project you have done, all the things. Just list down all those things, and according to the like JD, you add those points on that, and don't like put too much graphics on that, or like put a minimum graphics what has to be do there, and simple formatting. Yeah, and try to keep your resume into one page if possible. So you can to make you as per you, but try to possible to make into one page. And also when you make the resume, you can like reviewed by the industry experts, right? Also like you can review with me, like I am like open in pre-placed. You can book a trial session on that, and like we can go through on your resume, and right, we can give you some kind of a feedback what has to be done, what has to be removed. I can help you on that also. So you can look into my book a trial session in pre-placed. uh, okay, so in resume creation, what is we should add on the resume, right? What should so we'll make most about the resume part here, because 30% of your resume, like what you have written on that, it is mainly looking on this, like how to apply those things. So some points are morely specific, specific like when you are working with some kind of a, let's suppose, uh, so let's suppose you are working with a project, right? The project is mainly a web application project, a web-based project. So you add your project, but project details, but into some kind of a bullet points or list points. Like nobody going to read all the paragraph. Just make those points. Also, like if you are looking for are going to use right for a technology thing, right? Like technological post. So make your resume technological, right? Put some keywords what is mainly technological related things. Those can you can put. Also highlight important keywords you think based on the job description, you highlight those keywords. Also like relevant projects. So what I told you, like main point is the relevant project and relevant experience in the resume we look for. And in like resume creation, the most basic parts, right? We shouldn't add multiple things into the resume, right? So what we should avoid actually, don't put unnecessary stuff onto your resume, right? Let's suppose hobbies and all those things. So when you don't have anything, do some projects and add those into the projects. So don't put something like this, right? Also don't do some kind of a grammatical mistakes or typos. Also, like if you lie to your resume, right, it will get caught. Definitely, it will get caught on. So to be honest on your resume, and also like add like don't add your parents name, right, your hometown, etc. This is something that company doesn't wanted to know, like when you are trying to hire you. They wanted to know in your technological perspective, right? So mainly these things when do like our freshers, they don't have anything to add into their resume, so they put these things like this jargon into the resume to fill up the resume, like I'm making 2 pages resume. So if you don't have anything, do some projects, I can help you on that. but add those projects. Yeah. So that's again. So here also, right? I'll go with this when we are doing resume. I see multiple resume, like they have two pages of resume. On the first page, they have, let's suppose, formatting some font and font size, but in the next page, the font size are not matching. The bullet points are not matching, like bullet point icon is not matching. You have to be like format your resume consistent. So so we have to avoid the formatting inconsistencies, right? So also don't use any paragraph. Try to list everything. Also, if you have a working professional, so don't like give too much information of your project, like what you have worked on that project. Just give a overview and a kind of a Hawkeye view. So maybe if you give a too much point on that, so maybe you can open like you can got into some trouble, like maybe you are opening some trade secret, or maybe opening some kind of a PI thing, like IP things and PI things, multiple things can you can get into the trouble, right? So those things. Now let's understand. So how to be ready for the interview. Okay. So, like when I asked you, everybody, right, what is your main thing into this session? So, everybody is looking for, right, how to do, most of the people, how to start with the DSA and all those things. So, we'll go into that DSA part. Okay. But I think multiple people joined now also. So, who are newly joined, can you also put into the chat, like from where you have joined and what is your experience, and like how much you are, what you are looking for this session. So please write into the chat so I can understand what you are looking for. Yeah. So who are newly joined, can you just like put into the chat? Okay. Raju, 9 years of experience in Bangalore. Okay. Okay. So we'll go with the how to be ready for your interview. Okay. So most of the main part is like you have to start your basic coding. Like, so if you not able to start your coding, just go with any of like there are multiple coding websites, right? Lead code, etc. Multiple. So just go there and start your coding. Okay. So first start with your basic DSA easy questions, then move into the more medium. So how many questions are enough? So it will depends upon you. Like is it like 50, 60, 70? So when you are working on this, like when you are doing this coding daily, you'll able to understand like what is your progress, and you will get the progress. So automatically you understand what is your like in which level you are. Okay. When you have done this, then move into the slightly more like advanced topic like graphs, dynamic programming, etc. And most important is do random questions. Okay. And also you can do some mock interviews with the industry expert. Also I'm available, like you can book a kind of a pre-placed trial session with me, so I can help you on that mock interview as well. Okay. So let's understand what are the topics we should cover. What level of expertise is read to Python, level of expertise is required in Python data science? Okay, so Arijit, so expertise required in Python for data science, this is mainly depends upon the company's job requirement. Okay, so in data science, mainly there are multiple area people are looking into. So if you're looking for the decision science, there are maybe if you're going for the banking and finance domain, they will look for minimum 3 to 4 years. So it typically depends upon the domain and also the expertise you have. Based on that, your job description you should check. Yeah. Okay. So okay, Rohit saying I'm good at within ML codes visualization, but not able to solve coding rounds. Okay, what to do? So what I told you, like start with the basic coding. So I'll give you the like a small example. So when you starting with the basic coding, so basic coding like very basic coding, like go for the, let's suppose, calculator, or maybe this prime number of Unix is a very basic coding. You can just go for the logic building stuff only, very basic with loops on maybe conditional statement if else. So when you are like most okay with this kind of basic coding, then move into the DSA. So when we are working on the DSA, the my suggestion will be just go write down the algorithm first in pen and paper. Okay, so let's suppose you wanted to do something in a binary search. Let's suppose, so just write down the algorithm like step by step, create a flow chart, and on that flow chart you just make a pseudocode, and on that pseudocode you convert your pseudocode into the actual coding, right? So it will help you on this. Okay, and when I solve DSA question, I'll feel like don't know the concept of DSA. How should I make DSA concepts clear? Okay, so this is the most question I got, right? So main thing is when you are looking for the DSA, right? So first try to if you go for the lead code. So let's take an example on the lead code. So there are steps, right? They have some kind of a course, I think, course or free course. They have like week to week guide, like step by step guide. So just when you are starting a topic, first learn those topics. Don't directly jump into the coding. Just learn the get the basic idea. Put on pen on paper, right? So let's suppose if you're going for the binary search, just do this on pen and paper. Then we'll go for that. Yeah. After practicing a specific topic, how to refresh them in a certain period, because sometimes even when we try to revisit our code, it seems new. Yeah, any times to revise them. Okay, so revising them, like most important part is practicing, practicing, and practicing. So these things will give you help. So revising the code will help, but if you do a practice, so let's suppose in a tree based problem, right? So when you go for the tree based problem, there are multiple things you can do with the tree. So you just go through practice and practice and practice. So after too much of practice, you'll able to identify your codes also. And also like when you have done your coding on your own, right? You know the concept. So just go through one by codes. You can actually okay. Going to the data structure and algorithm topics. What topics we should cover? Okay. So main things like when we are so now I'll come with a interview perspective. Okay, so in interview there are two types of interview. Okay, so one will go for the product based company, one will go for the service based company. Okay, so now product based company, most of the company now come up with like some kind of a hackathon thing, or there will be a coding round. After that coding round only you'll go for the technical discussion, right? So on the coding route, most the question will be from the data structure and algorithm topics only. So most of the company has like 45 minutes or 1 hours of time bound, and on that they have two question or one question based on that. So you can mainly focus on to the TLE error, right? Time limit error and space complexity. Okay. So that is the first point you have to look into, because based on that maybe some test cases will not pass if you have this error. And these are the basic DSA topics, right? You can go up this like add a string, linked list, stack queues, trees, search graph, and like BFS, DFS, a dynamic program as well. So you go on these topics, but start with very basic, then like medium one, then go for the like dynamic programming and like anything. And also most important, practice random like programming questions. Okay, Arvind, this happens with everyone. Okay, so what are the problem we have faced on preparing this, right? So these are in my view these are the main points like we faced, right? Not being able to solve easy question initially. Also we don't put the practice daily, like we don't have the consistency. Like I do today one, and then after 1 week also like we do half today, and after one day we do half. So we have to be consistent working on that, and like getting stuck into the same type of questions. These are the main problem. And also like when I'm talking about the we are not able to optimize. So the optimize part I will come later, how we can do that. But the main problem here is like we have to understand the problem, right? What we are trying to solve. So when we are trying to solve, right, we have to just understand like what we are making these things, right? So let's suppose if you're trying to solve a algorithm, right? So then you have to understand in and out how it is going from where to where. Then you'll be able to easily clear those things. Okay. So and also uh, sometimes it happens like you can do this on your own like in lead code or any like hacker and platform, but when you are going for the interview you're not able to clear the interview. Okay. Also like you are taking too much time to solve the questions, these things, and like you are able to solve the easy question but not medium and hard. So it's all comes with the practice, practice, and practice. How much you practice, you'll able to like get better, like polished and get better daily by daily. And the main thing is like how to optimize. For the optimization thing, right? You have to understand that if you're working with the Python, you have to understand the Python as well, right? We'll go on to that when basic part. But you have to understand the pattern, like where to use mutable, where to use immutable. So we have the data structure, right? We have set, dictionary, list, tuple, where to use those, like, so how to use like how to like reduce the space complexity. You have to like when you do daily those things, you'll able to understand those things. Okay. So how to like prepare yourself, right? Here I think who asked, right? Someone asked, right? After you're not able to solve the question. Okay. Not able, Shreyas, I think, asked. Okay. So when you are like practicing and you're not getting enough confidence, like you are able to like solve or not, how to do those things, right? So you practice and also participate into on your some coding competition. So there are multiple platforms, right? In they are doing hackathons, coding competition, and I think this Google coding competition also now live. You can register there as well. So there are multiple things are there are going on. So you can go there coding competition and do all those things. Also, like you can do a mock interview with me or some in interview some industry experts, and you'll get checked, right? So the main part is like you have to understand, right? एक हिंदी में कहा होता है ना, हमें समझना पड़ता है कितना पानी में है हम. So you have to understand like how much you are prepared, how much you are on, like how much you have to prepare and how much you have already prepared. You have to understand those things. Where can we get? Okay, Samuel. So I do. You can book a trial session with me in pre-placed. You can get the link on this chat, so I can help you on that as well. Okay. So let's talk about some topics for the Python interview. Yeah. So here in Python interview, we'll go this basic concepts. Okay. So in basic concepts, these are the basic concepts we know, but sometimes I'll give you some basic examples, like basic interview questions as well, right? So we know, so let's suppose in data type, we all know, right? If you have joined, right? I think you all are doing Python coding, so that's why you joined. We all know, right? We have mutable, immutable. So we have a data type integer float is immutable and mutable like list some things. So where to use, like let's suppose list and tuple I have. So in interview, this is a very basic question everybody asks. What is the difference between list and tuple? Right? If you go for the internet, the interview question, Python interview question, the very first question will be what is the basic difference between list and tuple? So, but a interviewer maybe wanted to understand what you know about this list and tuple, right? Tuple stored value in a hashing technique. Maybe interviewer trying to understand like you know this like in depth on that, so how hashing technique works, why tuple like search, like if you go for the space complexity of a tuple, like time complexity for searching a element, for the tuple it is big of one, right? Why it is big of a one, those kind of things maybe some interviewer wanted to know you when you are giving this like example like difference between a list and tuple. So this is the things like when you are doing the exception handling, maybe people will ask about the exception handling. uh, like I see in chat, right? There are some experienced people already joined. So if someone given some already Python interview, any companies or anywhere, so can you also share some question what you have asked on that interview, so I can understand your point of view as well. Yeah, so these are the basic things. Like in function, you have a like function into function, you have decorator, generator, how decorator works, you have to understand. Maybe interview will ask. So these are the basic concept when we are going for the interview, Python interview. So these basic concept has to be clear. Like let's suppose in a control statement, right? We have if else, we have loops, right? In loops we have for loop, while loop. Let's suppose in loop we are using range operator, like range keyword. On range there are starting element, ending element, and also steps. How to use those in a tricky situation, maybe this kind of thing. Okay. Yeah. Arijit, these are, I'm not going through the what is the concept and all those things, but I'll show you decorator is this kind of a function of a function. It will return a function, and this decorator actually help to like reduce the code complexity or reusability of code. It is actually helping to the decorator. So just given an example, let's suppose you are uh, so let's suppose in a university, so if you have a greater than 80%, it will be a distinction. So let's suppose, and every department it will have, irrespective of grading system. So you can just create a function like that. You call this decorator as a if is distinction or not. So it will check if it is a distinction or not. It will return that. So decorator is like that only. And also, when you are going through this like basic concepts and syntax in Python, you have to know the best practice like pep guide. Like now we are PAP 8 guides also, so you can go into that websites in Python docs and able to understand like what is their view. Okay, uh, so we'll go with the object oriented programming. Uh, in object oriented programming, so Python also support object oriented programming. So we have multiple things, right? So inheritance, polymorphism, encapsulation, abstraction. Now, if somebody is from the Java background, so they will know in the inheritance, hybrid inheritance is not supported in Java, but it is supported in Python. But why it is supported, right? So we have some concept in Python, right? Based on that only, this hybrid inheritance is supported. Like sorry, multiple inheritance is supported in Python, right? Function resolution method. So this based on this function resolution method is only helping Python to help on the multiple inheritance. So let's suppose so can you tell me like who are working on like know about the Python? If I have a some class without creating an object of that class, can we call a function like method from that class? Anybody can you tell me on chat? Okay. So my question is like if I have a class, let's suppose I have a class calculator. On this class, I have multiple methods like addition, subtraction, something. And without creating that object of that class, I wanted to call the method, right? Maybe addition or subtraction. Okay, using super. Using super is only help on the inheritance, not in. Okay, okay, understood. Using if else. Okay, okay. No, we can call the method outside of the class without creating the object. So there is also called like static method. So if we create that method as a static method, we can call that method outside of that class as well without creating the object. So this is typically things like when you understood, so you can like you have to go through these concepts actually and understood in depth. and it will help on your programming as well as interview. So when you are going for the interview, so this will be the part, like one will be the basic concept. The interview, when will start with the interview, right? So the interview will start with first basic concept of Python, like how I told you, file handling, exception handling, like control statement, list, set, dictionary. Then go will into the object oriented programming. Okay, so this is the process when you are going for any Python interview. They'll go through this way. Okay, the second will be into the data structure and algorithm. So as already discussed, a list, tuples, sets, we have searching and sorting algorithm as well as also recursion. So I have also mentioned some common questions. This common question actually, this common question actually helps you understand like what are the interview question, but this is not the thumb rule. Okay, this question will be asked or something. So I told you, right, what is the difference between list and tuple, what is stack, uh, and what is queue, how what is a binary tree, how do you traverse a binary tree, so what is a recursion. This kind of things you can come up the data structure and algorithm. Okay, so let's go into the Python libraries and frameworks. Okay, so here are the most tricky things. Like when interviewer asked, like, what are the frameworks you have used, right? Mostly as if you are a data analyst or working on the data analytics area, you will mainly use pandas and NumPy. If you are working into the web development area, maybe you're using Django and Flask. If you're into the data science area or machine learning or anything in this area, you'll use Keras, TensorFlow, and scikit-learn. Okay. Now, the based on your answer or based on the requirement, the interviewer will go with those like libraries and frameworks. Like so, let's suppose in Pandas. So the first question will be like how to create a data frame from a dictionary. Maybe someone asked you how to create a maybe you all know the series in pandas, how to create a series in pandas from a data frame, right? So in data frames, can how we create a deep copy, right? So you are aware of shallow copy and deep copy, how to create a deep copy into data frame. So this kind of question can be asked. So right, if you wanted to like take all those things, right, how to prepare to Python libraries and very basic start in a, like I'll suggest go through list down all the questions and revise those questions, create those questions, and go for that questions. Okay. Also, I can help you on that. You can go for the trial session one with me, and you can check out with my LinkedIn page as well. You can directly contact there. I can help you if you have any question or any doubts on that. So also, just given an example, like in pandas. So in pandas, we can like search for linearly as well as into directly use the pandas framework APIs as well. So maybe someone can ask you like how you can go for the API. You know the API, but how you can go linear programming. Those kind of question can be asked. Okay. Then go for the database. Okay. So the database things mainly come for everyone, like a data analyst, a web application, and also the scripting. Are you allowed to? Lakshmi is asking, are we allowed to use the web? Uh, yeah, Kumar, you can write a question into the chat area if you are asking anything. Okay. Are we allowed to use the web to solve a statement during interview because we are going to use the NER? Yeah, it depends upon the company. Okay. So some company when I have given interview, so they allowed to actually go for the web for the very basic things. All right. Basic things like you can't search for the any logic or things if you are like you're not able to recollect your syntax or something, you can use. Okay. So yeah, Kumar, what I was saying, being a cloud engineer, I mostly use both or three. What are the question I should prepare for? Okay, so it depends upon right in which role you are going to. Like if you are as a cloud engineer, but in which role you are, as a data analyst or as a web application developer or as a automation engineer, in which role you are using, like currently going for, or in which role you are looking for. Okay, data analyst. Uh, so data analyst mainly, yes. So in data, see in Boto 3, like Boto 3 is typically AWS API, right? In AWS API, how you can store, like use those S3 and all those things. So if you're going for the data analyst, so maybe how to manipulate with that data, how to visualize the data. So when we are storing into data, like if we have some data, we are getting those data from the multiple data sources, and you are storing into the staging area. From the staging area, you are dumping into the final area, right? So you can, how you can uh, like ensure, like what are the number of data sets, like number of rows, or what is the data elements you got from the source, same is pushed into in your final area, right, in your data mining area or in your data area. So how you can confirm those, these kind of very basic things can be asked. uh, yeah. Okay. So I'll go into this database access. So database part is mostly difficult thing for an interview perspective. Okay. So interview, why I'm saying are difficult things, like in Python, Python support multiple Python has multiple frameworks for supporting multiple like databases. SQL Alchemy is one, is the ORM. ORM means like a object relationship mapper. So SQL Alchemy can connect with the pandas data frame, and you directly push your data into the like anything, right? PostgreSQL, MySQL using SQL Alchemy. Okay, using SQL Alchemy, you can create your database as an object and work on that object, and you can commit and push into that. Also, if you're going with the like Django. So Django has inbuilt ORM. So you directly have to migrate to the database, and you can directly use Django's API. So you'll not use any like SQL queries like select those kind of. Django has their own kind of framework like Django queues. They have multiple things on the Django's database area. That will be asked. So based on your role, so let's suppose if you're working as a data analyst, like going for the data analyst, how will connect? You have, let's suppose, multiple data sources. So how will connect your database? Like let's suppose you have CSV, you have some like PostgreSQL, you have some MongoDB, uh, Elasticsearch also. You have some kind of a data source for the Elastic as well. So how you'll get those data, and in how to you'll merge those data, and in how you'll like dump into your final area. So so this may be asked. Also, like how many people know what is our database connection pool? What is connection pool? Do you know anyone? Uh, okay, 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 Kumar. Okay. So like connection pool is a very basic thing. So in like when you are doing like creating some Python, uh, opening a database connection in Python, right? You can't open multiple database connection. So there will be a pool. You have to, if you're opening that connection, you have to close. So there are multiple things internally. I'm not going into the detail, but it is some kind of related to how many connection you are opening, and every time you shouldn't open a very like regularly. When you are using, let's suppose you are performing 10 or 15 statement or executing some statement, you'll at the end you will close that connection. Those things, very basic things. I'm not going into the in detail, but this is a kind of connection pool. So maybe those things also can be asked. So this is the way, right? This is the path. First basic concept, then object, then maybe data structure algorithm, then libraries and frameworks, then database access. Okay, so also maybe ask some security related question into database as well, right? So what is the SQL injection? How we can protect that SQL like injection? Also, like what is a prepared statement? What is the difference between the regular SQL statement and prepared statement? So when I'm using those, how to use those? Okay, so now it's into the web development part. Okay, so who are mainly looking to the web application or web development part? So there are two things, right? One is the like developing web application, another is a REST thing, like creating a module with like REST API. So who are working on the REST, like maybe some, so let's suppose, imagine there is a group who are working on the REST. They don't have to interact with UI. They will create their own some kind of a Python backend and deploy that into, let's suppose, AWS, and they have their REST endpoint. Like we have a endpoint and get, put, post, and like those things. So that is another development, web development area. This is also comes under web development. Also, the application development, right? Application development, you have your UI, like let's suppose your UI is on the React. We have a form, you are submitting the form. Based on that form, there are something is happening, right? So this is the another type of web development, right? So, like as per the job description or as the requirement, when you are applying for the particular role, the question will be asked on that direction. So let's suppose you are going for the REST API role, or like let's suppose REST role. So here mainly used Flask. So they don't mainly used like maybe Django. So they are using Flask or Fast API. So the Flask and Fast API question will be come from there. If you're going for the full to full like web application development, it will comes from that Django, maybe Rails, Pyramid, this kind of frameworks question. Also, when I'm going for this, so there are very basic concepts like MVT structure for the Django, like model view template. So this is the very basic template or very basic framework for the web development, right? You also have the concept of HTTP, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Like basic concept is required because when you are interacting with the front end and back end, you have to understand how to do all those stuff. Yeah. Also, like I have also mentioned some basic questions. So these are the very basic questions. So you know what is Ajax, how to call the Ajax, right? Uh, Ajax, I think everybody ever of Ajax, right? Okay, okay. So Stick said no. Okay, okay. So Ajax is like a jQuery kind of jQuery based function. Okay, so some things, right, when we are clicking on, so let's suppose maybe you have seen multiple times, like when you are signing up some form, right? You are just typed your email address. Let's suppose abc@abc.com, and when you type and there is a red icon, red like this email is already exist, but you have not clicked on the submit. How the system already understood like it is on the database, right? So without loading that page, it is going into onto your server and fetching that information and again send it back to the client side. So we have client side and backend, like backside. Yeah, yes, Samuel. But in a layman term, the Ajax is used only for this kind of stuff where you don't want it to load the page. So in Ajax is mostly async function, and you can also change their asynchronous type based on the parameter true or false. Okay, so what is the Django template? Maybe Django template where we can pass some kind of Django template is on the HTML template. We can pass some kind of a variable where we can directly uh, display the backend values like server values. So these are the very basic questions. I can help you on that how to prepare those things. Okay, so now coming to the testing part. So as a developer, right? So I'm working as a almost 10 years plus. So our rule is, so we go with the agile methodologies, right? So when there will be a story created for me, I have to develop these features. Like, so when the story will be assigned, on the story there is a acceptance criteria. The Scrum Master will accept my story as a done when this acceptance criteria is met. On the acceptance criteria, the testing is the integral part of your development. Whenever you are developing something, you have to write your unit test code. So why it's important, right? So when you're developing any features or any kind of thing, right, you are not going to test manually every time. So you will write some unit test and you will put some data, and this unit test may be part of your continuous integration part, or maybe some kind of a build part, right? So whenever we are pushing our whole application into, let's say, for the deployment, it will automatically check those unit tests, like these tests are passing or failing. If based on that, like scenario, in the test case also we have positive case and also we have negative case. So based on that scenario, if it is all passed, then the application is good to go. If it is failed, the application is not good to go. We have to check why this basic test is failing. So in Python we have the PyTest. This is the PyTest frame. PyTest is a framework based on developed on the Python, right? So like we mainly used for writing the unit test. So maybe bit of data analytic area, or maybe for the web development area, or maybe for the rest. Everywhere we should write our unit test for the checking. In testing, we have like very simple or basic questions I have mentioned here, like what is PyTest and what is the fixture in PyTest. Uh, those kind of things, very basic things. Okay, so next what I'll do, I'll put this quiz link actually into the chat box. You just go into this link. So this quiz. Just answer those question and we'll check the score after 5 minutes, maybe on 6-2. So I have pasted the link into the chat box. Go into that quiz and we'll see. Yeah, please visit the link and submit the quiz. Everybody able to see the quiz link, right? So just give me the confirmation on chat so I can understand like you are able to go to the link. So are you guys able to click on that form link and able to see the quiz? Okay, I got two responses. Okay, done. Okay, okay. Rohit submitted, Avinash submitted. Thanks, Raju, for the confirmation. Swastika also submitted. Lakshmi submitted. Okay, yeah. Lakshmi. Sandeep submitted. Okay. Let's give 2 more minutes. Okay. Thanks, Avinash. Raju also done. Okay. Okay. I think nobody is giving now. Yeah. I got the score. Okay. So Raju got 10 out of 10, and then Lakshmi got 8 out of 10. Yeah. Okay. Both. Thank you. Yeah. Arijit got 5. Yes. Okay. See, go for the next. Okay. So now the debugging and troubleshooting. Okay. So most important part is the debugging and troubleshooting. So when we are going with the like technical discussion, right? On the technical discussion, maybe the interviewer will ask you write a very small piece of code. Okay. So let's suppose a very small piece of code. Then he'll ask you like go through the code, how the code is working, or maybe they will ask you some kind of a problem statement, but you are not able to solve at that moment. But you have done something you are not able to solve. Now the interviewer is asking you to debug your code and tell him or tell her like where you got stuck and why you got stuck, right? So understanding your code and like debugging your own code and troubleshooting is the most important part. From that only, our interviewer will understand like how much you have depth on your code. Okay. Also, when you are debugging, so nowadays we are mainly using Python for all of the coding and also like Visual Studio Code. And people are using multiple IDEs, but most two like popular is like Python and Visual Studio Code. In also in Python we have like common debugging. You can use like print statement, you can use logging, right? Also we Python has already some debugging techniques internally built. Also like you can use on PyCharm, they have the very good debugging thing. If you go for the so go through the debugging and understood where you have got stuck. Like sometimes like interviewer may ask like how you understood your problem into your own code. Like maybe you have a habit of using a print statement or maybe habit of using a logging. Those are good, but when you are going for a very big codes, so they are putting a print statement everywhere, it is not possible. On that scenarios, how will like able to understand, how will understood where is the actual problem. So those kind of things able interviewer wanted to understand from you. So you have to have some good depth on that, like debugging and troubleshooting. Okay. So now comes into the soft skills, right? So the most mm, like important part is the attitude, right? So you can do it or you can make it. It is the right attitude, right? Maybe everybody don't know everything, right? Maybe what we are looking for, maybe I don't know all the things, you don't know all the things, right? So what we can do, right, we have to take our right attitude, able to learn, and like we can do those things. And also you have these things like common things like problem solving skills, like how to, like, let's suppose if you have some problem, how to, like, uh, step by step approach for that solving a problem. uh, like let's suppose in a big problem, how we can, like, you know, like the algorithm divide and conquer. So how we can divide the problem and then like integrate all those things and get the solution. Also, like, now you have to work with your team. So how you can work with your team, how you can collaborate, how how you can manage your team member, like internally to each other. Those are the mainly things in the soft skill they will look for. Okay, so how to apply for job? So those are the things, like I conclude those things like Python's things and also soft skills. So now comes into like how to apply, where to apply. So mainly, apply for the career portal, Naukri.com, LinkedIn. Also, like when you are going into the LinkedIn, right, there will be job posting. You can see the recruiter name. You can directly connect with him. Also, yeah, how to build a LinkedIn profile. I'll help you on that as well. Okay. Uh, Also in LinkedIn, you can, so let's suppose if you are looking into the applied material, I am working on the applied material. You can directly connect with me and like ask for the referral. I can directly give you the referral. So go for those as well. If you don't know anyone on that company, connect with them. Okay. And directly approach them. Like if you got a directly referral, they're getting the chances is higher. But it all depends upon like how is the requirement, how your resume, all those things. There are multiple things, but you should go with this. Also, you should have a good LinkedIn profile. Like in a good LinkedIn profile, like in your bio, it should be like more precise and crisp. What you are working, what you are looking for, what you wanted to go, like wanted to go means in which direction you wanted to go. Also, like add some kind of, if you wanted to do some like technical blogging or something, add those technical blogs. Add your, like if you've done like any certification, add your certification. Also, like do keep your LinkedIn profile active. So how to make active your LinkedIn profile, like do some comment on post, share some post, share in your thought. Also, like you, if you have already experience, right, you can ask for the referral. Also for the recommendation, you can ask for, you can give the recommendation. So those things actually make a good LinkedIn profile. Okay, then the final session. So, like when you are doing that like technical discussion, so it is a discussion. It is not your fiber. Okay, so make this as a this kind of thing a discussion. Like he wanted to know from you something, you will give the answer, and also like be very honest on that. If you don't know, just go for it. You don't know. Don't uh, do something like you know and you're giving something. This is going into the very wrong like impression to the interviewer. Also, like it depends upon the interviewer, uh, how to like your interview is going on. So it totally depends upon the interviewer how they are going to. But the most thing, like treat this interview as a discussion. Also, doing a mock interview is a very important. Very important. What is a mock interview? Like with the industry expert or who has a related experience on that field, doing a mock interview is really required for this thing. Okay. And like don't get hurt or don't get depressed if you got rejecting for the multiple times. Rejection is a part of the process. After like giving multiple interviews, only you'll able to understand, right, what is the right question, how to approach the interviewer, how to give the answer. So just given an example, like when interviewer are asking something, when everybody. Okay. When so let's suppose our interviewer is asking one question. So let's suppose uh, what is a tuple? Okay. I can give an answer like this. Your tuple can be comes under like parenthesis. We can add anything into the tuple, but we can't modify anything into the tuple. All right. So that is kind of one kind of a solution or one kind of given an answer. Okay. Another answer is this kind of thing. Tuple is a immutable data types. The immutable data type means you can't modify your object when it's created. So tuple is created based on the hashing techniques, and tuple is when you are doing searching on a tuple, the time complexity will be big of one, right? So when you give this time articulated answer, point to the point answer, what the interviewer wanted to know, so these will help our interviewer. Like maybe they don't have to dig up on this. Try to like give a precise and more crisp and articulated answer. Don't like go some kind of vague answer. Yeah. So this will be my final suggestion. And like I told you again, like rejection is a part of the process. Don't get depressed or don't get like hurt. So after getting multiple rejection only, you'll crack. So there is no issue getting rejected. Okay, and I can help you on like cracking your Python interview, creating on your resume, helping on like preparing your like interview process in particular like basic concept Python to directly into like those concept everywhere. You can directly connect with me LinkedIn, and also like I am doing one-to-one session. You can go for that trial session and book for one session. Yeah. Uh, so this is my LinkedIn profile. So I'll paste it into chat as well. So okay, so done with my presentation. Now like I have to answer your question. So ask me anything you wanted to ask. Yeah. Platform to practice Python and how to make. Okay, so most like you can go with lead code. This is the best platform I can say. Lead code is the best. You can go on that. So they have like okay, they have their courses like topics, pathway. You can show as a pathway, right? If you go for the DSA, so they have the DSA pathway, like algorithm based pathway. They have multiple pathways. You can go for the lead code. This is the best. Any further question? Anything? Ramona asked, any portfolio projects on DSA? So portfolio projects on DSA, see, DSA is the integral part of your any project. So like maybe if your web application project, maybe you if your data analytics project, any project, DSA is the integral part, right? If you like let's suppose you are storing something value into list, the list is a your DSA part. Like if you're storing some values in tuple dictionary, let's suppose you are doing some operation, you are searching something, you are sorting something, so all is integral part of this. No, not paid version. I'm not suggesting the paid version. I'm suggesting they have let me tell you the exact name. uh, uh, I think I'm not suggesting the paid version. If you're directly logged in there, I forgot the actually name. They have some kind of a suggestion. You can go their path. On that path, they have some kind of a 20 days streak or 30-day streak, this kind of thing, where you can understand. Okay, best book for Python data structure. Uh, see, data structure like if I think you have already like what is it? Naga Shiva Durga. So in which like you are looking for like the book how will help like book any book will help Any book will help on Python data structure. So main is on the data structure. So Python is a programming language. So what will happen, right? The data structure is same for C, Java, Python, everywhere. But like make it using a program, we are using Python. So data structure is same. So if you have a data structure for the C, you can go for the algorithm and put it into a flowchart and convert it into the Python using the pseudocode. Which professional is referred to the review the design of web application, optional or backend? Okay, I'll tell you the right answer. Okay, any any free lead code allows only one. As a beginner learning Python, what are all the topics needed to prepare for a interview? Okay, so for beginner, I'll suggest basic concepts like data types. Uh, in the data types, also this basic concept I showed you into the like presentation. File handling, exception, list, loops, generator, decorator, those things. Very basic OOPS concept. Understanding of the OOPS concept, and also one or two Python libraries, maybe pandas, maybe Flask, any Python libraries or framework. Okay, don't have any question. Okay, which are the important libraries to study for the data analyst? So data analyst, if you are working with the mostly data, pandas is the best. Okay, but the data will depends upon in which data you are working. Okay, so which data means like if you working with the big data, then PySpark will be the best. If you are, let's suppose, a very low data means like 2 millions or 3 millions data, maximum 2 millions, you can go for the pandas, but more than 2 millions you have to go for the big data. You can go the PySpark. Okay, any recommendation how to link up with industrial expert for mock interview? Okay, Samuel, you can directly go for the trial session with me in pre-placed. I suggest you on that, and we can go for the long monthly like one-to-one internship or anything you wanted to do. I can help on that. Any free load, any free load can allow only. I don't think Rohit, it allows only once a day. So here in lead code, you can choose the question and go into that. If you are directly like going on the shuffle of question, I think there is limitation on the shuffling up, but not in directly choose and go into the answer. Okay, so this link, yeah. Yeah. uh, okay, any questions? I think I not seeing any question on that.